Safety Toolbox Talk number 331. SOP for process isolation work. 1. Purpose. The purpose of this SOP is to outline the steps required to safely and efficiently isolate processes during maintenance, repair, or troubleshooting activities. 2. Scope. This procedure applies to all process isolation activities within company. 3. Responsibilities. Operations/production personnel, responsible for notifying maintenance/engineering teams of the need for isolation and assisting where necessary. Safety officer, responsible for overseeing safety protocols and ensuring proper safety measures are in place during the isolation process. Maintenance personnel, responsible for executing the isolation work safely and ensuring equipment is properly isolated. Four. Equipment and tools. Lockout/tagout, LOTO, devices. Isolation valves and/or blind flanges. Pressure and flow monitoring equipment. Personal protective equipment, PPE, as required, gloves, goggles, etc. Isolation checklists. Process flow diagrams, PFDs. Safety data sheets, SDS, for chemicals involved. Five. Procedure. 5.1 Pre-isolation steps. Notification. Ensure that all affected personnel are notified of the isolation work. This includes operators, maintenance staff, safety officers, and other relevant personnel. Assessment. Review system diagrams, PFDs, and assess the impact of isolating the process on the overall system. Identify any hazardous materials or conditions that could arise during the isolation. PPE check. Ensure all personnel involved are equipped with necessary PPE, e.g. gloves, eye protection, hearing protection. Shutdown system. If required, shut down the process or equipment according to the established operating procedures. .2 Isolation steps. Mechanical isolation. Isolate equipment by closing valves, blocking lines, or installing blinds where necessary. Use appropriate devices, locks, tags, to physically secure isolations. Energy isolation. To energize electrical equipment and lock out power sources. Verify isolation by attempting to operate controls to ensure energy cannot flow to the equipment. Chemical isolation. Ensure all chemical lines are properly sealed or blocked. Confirm that chemicals are not present in the isolated section of the system. Ensure proper drainage and containment of any residual chemicals. Hazard verification. Check and confirm that no energy, electricity, chemicals, pressure, is present in the isolated section. Verify through testing or using appropriate sensors. .3 Post-isolation steps. Verification. Double-check all isolations to ensure that they are fully effective and secure. Sign off. Complete any required isolation checklists and have them signed off by responsible personnel. Communication. Notify all relevant personnel that the isolation has been completed and work can begin. Documentation. Record all isolation actions, including lockout/tagout details, checklists, and any issues encountered during isolation. 6. Safety and compliance. Ensure compliance with all local, state, and federal regulations for safety and environmental protection. Lockout/tagout, LOTO. Standards must be strictly followed to prevent accidental energization of equipment. Chemical handling must follow established guidelines and SDS protocols to avoid exposure to hazardous substances. All personnel must complete process isolation and safety training before being authorized to perform isolation work. #7. Emergency procedures. In the event of an emergency during process isolation, evacuate personnel from the immediate area if a hazardous situation arises. Containment. Activate emergency containment or shutdown systems as required. Notification. Notify emergency response teams and affected personnel. Assessment. Upon return, assess the system for any damages or issues that may have arisen during the isolation process. 8. Records and documentation. Lockout/tagout forms and checklists. Isolation verification records. Any incident reports related to the isolation process. 9. Review and revision. This SOP should be reviewed annually, or as needed, to ensure it remains effective and compliant with applicable standards and regulations. Thank you.